Parts of southeast Queensland have experienced another night of heavy rain, with more expected throughout today. Reporter Dominic Cansdale is on the Gold Coast and Kate McKenna is at QFES headquarters in Brisbane. Good morning to you both. First to you, Dominic. Well, we can see what conditions are like there. It looks dreadful.
It is dreadful, to say the least. So I'm at Mermaid Beach, and all beaches along the Gold Coast have been closed today for fairly obvious reasons. There's a gale wind warning in place already. This morning we've seen gusts of up to 80 kilometres an hour recorded, even stronger gusts further offshore, 100 kilometres an hour recorded. In what's quite extraordinary on the Gold Coast, we're seeing and expecting swells of 5 to 10 metres throughout today, which is quite out of the ordinary for the Gold Coast. And today, 1,800 properties without power this morning. Thankfully, no evacuations overnight. A watch and act warning, however, remains in place for Currumbin and Tallebudgera. Those are lower lying areas of the Gold Coast that are traditionally just more prone to flooding, lots of rivers and creeks. And an emergency assembly point has been set up by the council at Reedy Creek Waste and Recycling Station on Hutchinson's Road.
And what's the forecast, Dominic?
Well, right now it's high tide, and it's an abnormally high tide. And basically, if I took 5 steps to my left, I'd be knee deep in foam right now. So it is a pretty rough old day at the beach. But in terms of rainfall, we were expecting the worst to hit us at about 2 o'clock last night. The Bureau tells us the rain is moving slower than expected, so we are going to still see, we are still expecting to see rainfall of 150 mil. Potentially 300 mil in some areas on the Gold Coast, but the Bureau tells us that that is going to be a steadier rainfall, not the harsh and quick deluge we saw along parts of the Gold Coast on Saturday night. But in some good news, in a silver lining, we are expecting these really rough wind conditions to ease somewhat throughout the day.
Now to Kate at QFES. Kate, what's the damage from overnight?
Well, the QFES Commissioner says in terms of the damage, there's been essentially many calls to SES, but these essentially relate to to leak roofs, damaged roofs, trees down, that type of thing, but no word of rescues yet. So it's been another wet night with heavy rain across the southeast, but as Dominic mentioned, not as intense as the falls that we saw on Saturday evening, but there's still more to come, of course. The heaviest rain was seen on the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast. One place on the Gold Coast, Hinterland, recorded more than 180 millimetres, and that came on top of 460 mils that was seen in the previous 24 hours. So significant falls that we're talking about, and authorities are watching those rivers and creeks as that body will travel down. We're also due for king tide in about an hour. So authorities say that they've received many calls and that strong winds have also played havoc with power lines, and that they're working to restore some 7,000 homes that lost power. We also heard that the Gold Coast remains an area of concern, particularly the hinterland, and this is what the Commissioner had to say a short time ago.
What we're saying to people is if you don't need to be out on the roads today, please don't use the roads. The roads will be slippery and wet. So there's always the chance of road crashes, but particularly we're concerned about flooding in low-lying areas. Please, if you're out on the roads, if you have to move around, don't move through flood waters, back it up, find an alternate route. It's very dangerous to try and attempt to drive through flood waters.
And Kate, when is the weather expected to ease?
Well, not for some time. We're bracing for more heavy rain today. That trough is meant to deepen off the coast, and the weather system will start to move south. So it'll start to ease on the Sunshine Coast, but the Gold Coast is expecting heavier falls. And there's still a severe weather warning in place, stretching from Bundaberg down to the New South Wales border. So heavy rainfall, damaging winds, abnormally high tides and dangerous surf. And there's also a flood watch in place from that area as well.
All right, Kate McKenna in Brisbane and Dom Cansdale on the Gold Coast. Thank you both. A severe weather warning remains in place for parts of New South Wales North Coast, with the SES responding to 700 calls for help. Reporter Bronwyn Herbert joins us now from Byron Bay. Bronwyn, how are conditions there right now?
Look, you can probably see it. The rain has certainly just started to hit, and it is wild and woolly. There has been significant rainfall over the region over the weekend, but the worst of it is actually set to still come. Mid-morning, it's predicted, not too far off now. And also with the high tide. Here at Byron Bay, it has been suffering from a lot of erosion issues, and so there are major concerns right around the area to get as much, well, you're just hoping that it can actually be, that it won't further sort of decimate the coastline. Many of the visitors that we've chatted to this morning have having quite a different Byron Bay experience than perhaps what they predicted at the beginning of the school holidays. Well, for Queenslanders coming down, and also people pre-Christmas, because it's almost hot chocolate and a fire weather should be. But yeah, look, people are generally just kind of observing the natural weather event as it is, and are taking the right precautions.
And Bronwyn, how bad is it expected to get when the worst of it hits mid-morning?
Well, look, they've already had wind gusts reported here at Cape Byron of over 100 kilometres an hour, but the swell is supposed to reach up to 5 metres, and more damaging winds and heavy rain. So, yeah, there certainly have been a lot of alerts out there from authorities for people to take care, and from the you can see that water just sliding up behind me. That's just to really to take care, but it won't be till a little bit later in the days till we see the worst of it. There is that storm cell just off the coast that is likely to hit here.
Bronwyn, we can see how cold and wet you are. You need to get yourself a nice ABC raincoat. I think we'll try and sort that out. Bronwyn, thank you.